This is everything you need to know to visit the Cabrillo National Monument, one of San Diego's most popular attractions. The most famous things at the Cabrillo National Monument, one is the statue of Juan Cabrillo. He is the first Spanish explorer to set foot here in San Diego. Two, it's famous for amazing views of San Diego Bay and downtown San Diego. Military buffs will particularly enjoy the view of the U.S. Navy ships coming and going from the bay. And three, there's a really beautiful historic lighthouse here. We're gonna dive into more detail on the statue, the views, and the lighthouse in this video, and so much more. All right, but first let's talk about getting here. The Cabrillo National Monument is located in Point Loma, about 5 miles from San Diego International Airport. To get here from the Interstate 5 or 8 freeway, it's about a 15-minute drive off the freeway on a really scenic road along the top of Point Loma. You go through Fort Rosecrans National Cemetery. When you get to the gate, admission is $15 per carload, or if you're walking or biking, it's $10 per walker or biker. Now, most people who are driving here will probably start by parking in this main parking lot at the top, though you can take the bus. There is one bus line that'll get here, bus route 84. Now, to take a look at where we are starting this little tour on the map, here at the main parking area, we're gonna check out the visitor center, the statue, we'll check out the lighthouse, the Bayside Trail. There's a new trail that they built over here, and then we're gonna conclude with the coast trail in the tide pools area. So after you park, then the best place to go to is the visitor center, or if you just want to head to the statue, you can do that over there, or the lighthouse just up the hill. You'll see it, but you know what? Learn a little bit about the place that you go and check out the visitor center. There's not much in the way of food or drink here, so you'll probably want to eat before you come or bring some snacks with you. There are a few vending machines just down here, but you know, it's kind of like chips and drinks. There's an auditorium where you can watch some movies to learn more about gray whales, the voyages of San Salvador. Then there's a little museum over here on the side to learn about Juan Rodriguez Cabrillo. So you can see kind of what he looked like, what the exploration looked like, what the ship looked like, that he was on in this little museum right here. And coming outside, then this is the official visitor center. This is where the main restrooms are. So if you need to use restrooms, these are going to be the best ones at the center. In the visitor center, they've also got the park store. I just passed a sign that says if you're going to the tide pools, you'll want to come between October to May. Those are the month when the tide pools are visible. So here in the little store, you can pick up, you know, some postcards, you can pick up some, you know, souvenir t-shirts, and then you can also get information here at the park information desk. There's the store desk on the back and visitor information on the other side. They've also got a little area where they're showing some movies about the monument over here. Actually, he's talking about Devil's Tower, so maybe other national monuments. Okay, but we can head outside after you've picked up your information and your maps. Then your first viewpoint to check out is this one right here. So looking back this way, this is the top of Point Loma, where you would drive in from, the Fort Rosecrans National Cemetery. Looking down from where we are is the Naval Base Point Loma. So this is the submarine base over here. We've got Naval Air Station North Island right here, the island of Coronado just over there, the Coronado Bridge, the big tall buildings in the distance, that is downtown San Diego. And then the Silver Strand, which is this landmass that connects Coronado down to Imperial Beach. And then off in the distance, that way you can see Mexico on a clear day, which today happens to be a clear day. And I don't know why I said off in the distance and Mexico, that my voice got all high pitchy. But if you've got more curiosity about what that is, they've got a pretty good sign right here to tell you about all those things that you're looking at, and maybe even tell you what all the boats that you're looking at are too. And if you want to know more about the military boats, planes, ships that you're looking at, they got a sign over there. Okay, we're gonna go walk over yonder and check out the statue of Juan Cabrillo. I'm gonna speed this up to get over there. Okay, and this isn't This is a picture of the statue, just another map to kind of show you we are here at the Visitor Center, Statue, Lighthouse, and then we're going to check out this Bayside Trail over here as the first trail we're going to go to. The new trail I mentioned comes down this way, and then the tide pools over here. By the way, the lighthouse, we're going to check out the Old Point Loma Lighthouse, the famous one, but actually the real lighthouse that's operational and used today is down here at the end of the point. All right, and here we go. The statue of Juan Cabrillo, definitely one of those iconic images or pictures of San Diego is this statue and this viewpoint. And from the statue, they got a little bit of sign talking about Spanish and Portuguese. Why? Well, because his name was Juan Rodriguez Cabrillo, Portuguese. So many people thought he was Portuguese, but turns out he's actually a native of Spain. This statue turns out to also not be the original one that was here. It looks really nice, right? That's because this is a replica of the original statue. The original statue is actually now in Ensenada, Mexico. If you want to see that, you can check out my whole tour of Ensenada, Mexico that we took a Disney cruise from San Diego to visit. But on these signs right here, they tell you that he landed here on the 28th of September, 1542, claiming this land for the King of Spain. Okay, so now let's go check out the lighthouse. I'm going to speed this up because it's a little bit of a longer walk to get up the hill. But before we get all the way up to that lighthouse, they've got another cool lookout over here. And so if you're looking to kind of get like a cool picture of the monument, I know my lens on this camera is not that great to see it, but if we take my phone and get a 5x zoom, then you can see what that looks like from here. All right, come back from the statue looking down this way. This is the Bayside Trail we're going to go on in a little bit as we continue our way up to the lighthouse. You may or may not notice from the audio or my hair or the trees, quite windy up here. This is a really windy place since you're on the top of this point, not protected by much of anything. So if you're coming in the winter, dress accordingly. It can be much colder than the rest of San Diego up here. Even in the summer, it can be cold and gloomy up here. It gets really foggy in Point Loma. All right, it is now 1,000 feet for us to get to the lighthouse. Okay, so from here we have the entrance to the Bayside Trail that we're going to check out in just a minute. But first we're going to check out the lighthouse up here on the top that dates back to the 1800s. Turns out this wasn't actually a really good place for a lighthouse. I mentioned they don't use this one today because Point Loma on the top is often shrouded in fog. People couldn't see it. So that's why they moved it down to the bottom of the point that we'll see when we head down to the tide pools area. All right, so there's the lighthouse and then there's a museum about the lighthouse. You can go into the lighthouse, but not all the way up to the top. You can walk up a little bit into the tower. So we'll go ahead and hop in so you can see what that looks like, but don't expect to get any great views. So here's the staircase that goes up, and then we do get some views kind of into like what life in the lighthouse used to look like. This was the children's room of the lighthouse keeper, right? When there were lighthouses back in the day, people had to live here. This was the keeper's bedroom, so the actual adults that lived here in the watch room. And then right up here brings us to the tower that you could get to up there, but now it's got a grate. Well, there is kind of a cool view through that window looking out. But there's also a neat view looking down this circular staircase. That's a cool photo. All right, so coming out of the lighthouse, then there's the museum in the little building over here. And this actually shows you what that light inside the lighthouse looks like. It is a really impressive lens to make the big light from the lighthouse. I will save all of the science for you when you visit here, not because I don't know what the science is. Of course I know what the science is, just don't test me, okay? no test. All right, let's go check out that Bayside Trail that we saw earlier. All right, just down the hill a little bit from the lighthouse, we see the visitor center, we see a statue of Juan Cabrillo, and the sign for the entrance to the Bayside Trail. It tells you this trail is 1.86 miles round trip. The trail closes at 4 p.m. No restrooms, no beach access, no dogs, no bikes, and it says don't enter after 4 p.m. So the hours, and this is a little bit confusing, because the hours of the monument are 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., but much of the stuff starts to close by 4. So this is definitely probably better as a early morning destination, and you're not fighting the end of the day for everything to close. Although the good part about coming here at the end of the day is it is not too busy. Of the 3 trails here at the monument, this one is my favorite. It doesn't look that scenic at the moment, but it is pretty scenic. It kind of wraps around and comes down here along the point. Just kind of a neat vantage point to get away from the rest of the world and see San Diego Bay from a different perspective. All right, I'm gonna speed it up so you can see a bit more of this trail. The first quarter mile of this trail is all a paved road, stroller friendly to get down here. You have one critical turn to make, which is this one. If you kept going on the road, you get to a locked gate up there, turn left at the bench and follow the Bayside Trail, 1.6 miles from this point. They have another sign here that reminds you the trail is closed at 4 p.m. and another little sign to tell you that there be snakes up on this trail. And yes, I have definitely seen snakes in Point Loma, so do be aware of the scaly friends. This trail, not too steep of an incline, generally flat-ish, wide-ish, so I would call this an easy trail, but it is definitely not stroller or wheelchair friendly past this point. Yeah, and so right here is kind of another spot that if you have a 3x or 5x zoom camera, this is a great spot to take a photo with downtown San Diego in the background. I just love the feel of how peaceful it is here. You can see the big city off in the distance, but there's no roads, there's no sounds. It all just kind of melts away. Well, I mean, unless they're doing flight operations at Naval Station North Island. In that case, you will hear the sound of freedom of jets going over your head. All right, I won't be able to take you to the end of this trail because, why? I ran out of time before they're gonna close. So I wanna show you a couple of the other trails that I like here too before the park closes and they kick me out. The second trail is a trail that'll take you from the top of the hill where the lighthouse is down to the bottom of the hill where the tide pools are. This is the newest trail, and so it's not on a lot of maps, but it absolutely exists. Most people are gonna get down to the tide pools by driving, and that's what I would actually recommend for you if you have a car. But if you really wanna get down there and the parking's full because the lots are small, this is definitely a way to get down. Do know it's pretty steep though, so make sure you have some good climbing legs to get yourself back up. This is also one of the best places to get a good view of the actual operational lighthouse and some of the best surf at the end of the point too. Now, even if you're not hiking this trail, it's cool to take a few steps down and to check out one of the old World War II bunkers right here, made to look like a rock, but had some little things they could open up to peek out or shoot out, I guess. And on your way back down to the main parking lot from the lighthouse, there's another cool military relic to check out just down this path. It's an old military radio station from 1918 that now has an exhibit about the big guns of Point Loma. There used to be a gun in Point Loma that would fire shells that are this big. Crazy. You see the size of that person? So if you're not hiking down to the tide pools, you'll be driving down the tide pools. And it's a really scenic road that gets you down to the bottom. You'll pass the actual operational lighthouse, and then you'll park in one of 2 parking lots. This is the main parking lot. Not very many spaces, so it's important to get here early or late, because in the middle of the day, it can be quite busy. There are 2 pit toilets right at this main parking lot. And then this is the path if you were taking the staircase down from the top, you would end up right here. Or if you're continuing on to the tide pool path, it is a 0.4 mile trail along the bluff top. This way, do note this trail area closes earlier than the rest of the park. You need to be out of this area by 4 o'clock. That's when this trail closes. Now, definitely the coolest part of this trail is you get up close and personal with the ocean. So if you're here on a hot day in summer, this is going to be the coolest side because you'll get the cool breeze off the ocean. Note that if you are here to explore the tide pools, which we haven't really gotten to the actual tide pool area yet because it's, well, I mean, this is the tide pool area, but we don't see any tide pools. It's high tide. So if you want to explore the tide pools to see the sea life and the creatures and all that live here, then make sure you time your visit to come here at low tide. Since I'm clearly not here low tide, I want to show you in the sign what it looks like. We're here at high tide. It looks a little bit like that, but low tide, you can see all these rocks and all those things down there. Definitely not today. No collecting. They do have people that kind of sit at the front of the trail to make sure that you don't take anything home with you so that other people can enjoy it. And definitely stay back from the cliff edge because these are sandstone cliffs, and so they do drop sometimes. So give it some distance. Right here along the trail, we see another bunker, remnants from the Navy's naval base here on the point. What's in there? I don't know. It'd be interesting to head down in there. Just a little bit after that bunker, it looks like there's a trail here that used to go down all the way to the bottom, but now trail closed. So that one's no more. Just 0.1 more mile to get to the end and the overflow parking lot. Oh. Alright, so now that brings us up here. We've completed the coastal trail. We're here at the Sea Cove parking area. No restrooms on this side, just at the beginning of the trail. There are a few more parking spots a little further up the road, but it doesn't go much further because right where you see some of those orange cones in the distance, that is the San Diego wastewater treatment plant where they treat a lot of the sewage in San Diego before dumping the treated water off into the ocean miles out to sea. And once you reach the end, if you parked where I parked, then there's two ways to get back. One, take the trail back the same way you came, or you could walk along the side of the road as you go that way. It's not too busy a road since it doesn't go much of anywhere other than down here to the tide pools area. There is one more thing that you need to know about this part of the Cabrillo National Monument is that the cell phone service is spotty in the whole park, but in particular down here, there is zero cell phone service. I have 0 bars. If you do connect, you might end up actually connecting down to Mexico, so be aware to not have your data roaming on to Mexico, assuming you don't want to talk to them. Don't expect to call any Uber or Lyft or your friend to pick you up. You are on your own when you are down here. Well, fellow explorers, if your travels are bringing you to San Diego, you might enjoy checking out my San Diego travel tips video right here. Or if you're coming here on a Wednesday, then you might also enjoy checking out the Ocean Beach Farmers Market. It's Wednesday from 4 to 8 p.m. You can check that out after you visit the Cabrillo National Monument. Check out this video for more about that. As usual, I won't say goodbye because I'll see you in the next video. Links are also in the description below.